Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and this is day 10 of my doing YouTube videos and gratitude lists. And this is technically my second attempt at doing this because my phone has decided that it has no storage space for me to make videos anymore. And I keep deleting things and it's not helping. So I'm attempting to do this directly on the YouTube website. So this is a new thing for me, having to learn how to bypass technology to get it to do what I want. So I am having to learn a lot of new things today, and now I'm going to have to remember everything that I said in the other 10 to 11 minute video that I wasn't finished recording. So that's a little frustrating for me, but here we go. And maybe this will be nice because it'll already be on YouTube, so I can just post it instead of having to wait for it to upload from my phone, I hope. So again, this is my attempt at doing things. And today I have been learning. I've been having some opportunities to grow. That's what one of my sponsors in my 12-step programs, like when you have trials or things that you don't like, just look at them as growth opportunities for growth. I hate that saying, but I'm trying to look at the positives, so I'm going with it. And I've had some experiences where I've gotten upset because, I kind of expect other people to be mind readers, or I, feel like other people expect me to read their minds, or I just don't like decisions that other people make because, yes, their decisions can affect my life just like my decisions can affect other people's lives. So I get upset. And so today I got upset. I took some things personally that I didn't necessarily need to take personally. But I remembered I did not have to react. I'm learning that I can take the time to think and then respond or act instead of just react. So instead of that knee-jerk reaction of being upset and belittling or getting angry at someone else, I took the time to stop and process my feelings. I also called, a friend because I need help processing my feelings sometimes because I don't always understand what I'm feeling or why I'm feeling it. And she helped me to kind of understand what I was feeling. And she also helped me to kind of look at it from the other person's perspective and point of view and realize that maybe it wasn't, an attack on me. It wasn't something I needed to take personally and that I just needed to step back and just let things, resolve themselves, which they did in a very short period of time. And everything was fine without my having to react or get upset or do all of those things. So I'm grateful I didn't take that out on the other person. So that's a good thing for me. Progress, maybe. I don't know. But it's also teaching me that, I need to learn how to process my emotions. And when I grew up in an environment that I didn't feel safe to share my emotions or to express them, I didn't understand them. And when I tried to understand them, I was told that I should already understand or that I shouldn't feel that way. And I'm like, okay, great. If I'm not supposed to feel this way, how am I supposed to feel? I never got that answer because I was just supposed to know, which obviously didn't help me. And so then I kind of, became afraid of my feelings. And I knew I didn't want to be angry and yelling and beating and, scary monster person because I saw that and growing up, and I was like, I don't want that. I don't want to be that person. And yet my thing is I just hold on to all of my emotions until, there's that last little thing that just tips the scale. And I'm like, that's it. I'm done. And I do exactly that. I turn into that monster and I just blow up and explode. And then I feel guilty. I feel bad because I don't want to be that person. And then I have to apologize. And then I have to go back and realize that it wasn't that person or that event that I was really that upset about. It was 100 other things, and that was just the final straw. That was the last thing that I couldn't take it anymore. But if I learn how to process when I feel things to begin with, they don't build up and they don't turn into this big huge volcano that erupts and spews all over everybody. These are my realizations for today. It's still going to take me a while to learn to actually step back from situations and process what I'm feeling before I respond to things. And I already have a slow brain. I know I do things slower than other people. I know I don't process things immediately. I know that when people are yelling at me or getting mad at me, my brain, seriously, it literally just shuts down. My emotions, everything, I just freeze. Everything's frozen. Can't move, can't think, can't process, nothing. And then, hours later when I'm in a safe place or I'm journaling or something, then what happened starts replaying in my head and it all comes back. And then I'm like, well, this is what I should have said, or they had no right to be angry at me because XYZ, or I'm this terrible, horrible person and I'm taking on all of their guilt and I'm taking it like I was responsible for whatever happened, whether I was or not. And then I just, it's this horrible spinning thing in my head and I don't really know how to process it, how to let it go. So I'm learning that when I journal and write those things out, instead of just spinning them in my head, that sometimes God will just help me in my writing to see things in a different point of view, to realize I'm like, yes, I was upset about this, or he'll randomly put some thought in my head that something that happened today triggered something that happened like 20 years ago. And I was like, oh, so I'm not really upset about what happened today. I'm upset about something that happened 20 years ago. Oh, and then I can process that feeling and be like, well, this is what should have happened when I was a kid and it didn't, or with this situation and it didn't. And then I can learn to be gentle with myself and say, okay, well, at least now I know I am upset and now I can move on and now I can, go back to this person and apologize, or I can just let the situation go, or whatever it is I feel like I need to do at that point in time. And so it's just this process for me, just learning to figure out my emotions. And sometimes I need to talk to somebody else. I need to talk to someone like in program or someone that I trust that can just listen and help me figure out what I'm feeling. I mean, my friend today, she was like listening to me, and at the end of the conversation, she's like, she's like, I love this. I just sat here and listened to you process this whole thing, and now you've already figured out what you need to do. And I'm like, I did. I did. I guess I did. But I just needed her to point out that there was another perspective, another side of things, and also to remind me that I have choices and that I can react or respond in a different way. I don't have to react. I don't have to have that knee-jerk reaction. I can choose how to act. I can choose how to respond. I do have choices. And when I choose to respond, I can choose to use my words carefully, and I can choose to respect other people. And I realized as I was doing some writing today that I am learning that if I want people to listen to me and to respect me and my values and my choices in life, even if they're different from theirs, that I need to do the same with other people. I need to listen to them. I need to accept their point of view. And not that I have to change my point of view to match theirs, but I just need to accept that that is their point of view. And it's okay that it's different from mine. And I can still respect them, and I can still have a relationship with them. And maybe I'm not always going to agree on what they choose to do or how that may or may not affect me in my life, but I can choose to respect their decision, and I can, adjust accordingly. And so not that I think that makes me a people pleaser. I think it just helps me to be the kind of person and treat other people the way that I want to be treated. And it reminded me today that I am a daughter of God and that He loves me, but everyone else is also a son or daughter of God. And God loves all of His children just as much as He loves me. I'm not the only one that He cares about. And that as I'm learning to love and care for myself, I can love and care for other people better because I'm loving and caring for myself better. So it needs to be something that I not only internalize, but then I express externally to other people. So that's a challenge in and of itself, because I haven't always been nice to myself. I haven't always loved myself or felt that I was deserving of that. And realizing that all the times I was giving and doing for other people, it was the expectation that they were going to do for me. It was that I needed something from them, so I was doing it as a manipulation thing without even consciously being aware that that's what I was doing, and then constantly being disappointed because I wasn't getting the love or the approval that I was seeking. And I realized that I'm like, I didn't have a lot to give. I was on empty. I wasn't loving and caring for myself. So what I was giving was shallow and empty, and what I was getting was shallow and empty, because the people that were giving or I was trying to get from weren't in a position that they could take care of themselves, let alone take care of me. So I'm learning that yes, I need to love and care for myself the way that God loves and cares for me, and then I can start loving and caring for other people. And a lot of that is just accepting them for who they are and letting them make their choices and letting them have to suffer the consequences of their choices, and just be a listening ear and just be a friend and just be like, okay, Maybe I don't see things the way you do. This is how I see it. This is how you see it. And then we just accept that the other has a different opinion. And then we find things that we have in common that we like to do together. And we just, when we get together, we focus on the things we have in common, the things that we can do together versus the things that, make us different. Because we're all different. Everybody is different and does things differently. And we're all unique. And even when we have things in common, we still have different points of view on things, which is why it's fun to get together and talk about stuff, to see other people's points of views, to expand our own point of view. Because I think everyone is, a little bit like me, where we're all a little bit selfish. Like, we all view the world based on our experiences, based on our life, based on our own personal perceptions. So the trick is learning to see things from other people's point of view, from realizing there's other perspectives besides my own, or that maybe my point of view or perspective of life has been distorted by my experiences, which, if I have a lot of bad experiences, I think the world is bad, and I don't realize that there's good things out there. Or when good things happen, I always have that little thing attached to my head. I'm like, what's the catch? There's a catch to this. I know somebody's just going to pull the rug right out from underneath me. I'm going to get excited. This is going to be good, and it's all going to fall apart. And then I see other people, and they have all these good things happen in their life, and they're happy and grateful. And I was like, hey, what am I missing here? Seriously. And it's my perspective. It's my attitude. It's where I'm focusing my time and my energy on the positive versus the negative. And I'm trying to focus more on the positive and the good things. And I'm trying to realize that everyone has a different perspective or point of view. I mean, me and my siblings, we all grew up in the same house. I had some of the same experiences, but we all interpreted it differently. We all had our own self-interpretation of how we viewed what happened. And it's very different. And so it's kind of learning and accepting that other people respond differently based on their perspectives, based on their experiences in life. And even when we have what appears to be the same experience, we still respond differently because we have different personalities. And, we've had different experiences in the past that counteract and cross over with what we're having in the present. So I may get triggered by something that happened 20 years ago and get upset about a situation today that's pointless, but it seemed really important because it was a trigger to me to be able to speak up, to have what I want, to have my needs met, and to not, just be pushed down like I'm unimportant. Because I'm important now, and I recognize that I'm important and that I have value, and that I want everybody else to see that. I just want to throw it in their face, but that's not how it works, and that's not nice, and that's not a nice reaction. And I don't really want to be that person. That's not who I am, and I know that, and that's okay. That's good for me to know that and to learn that. So I'm learning, and I think I mentioned in the other video, I was trying to make something about my writing groups and the writing people that I hang out with and my mentor in writing, and realizing that as I hang out with other people that write and do the same things that I do, that my story is still unique. It's different from everybody else's stories because they have all the different stories that they write. And I love to hear their stories and their writing styles, and they're completely different from mine. But so it reminds me that my story, my life, my experiences are unique to me, even though they have similarities to other people, and that I can share and learn from people that have had similar experiences or that are going through similar things, and that's what helps me to get through life. But mine are still unique to me, and my reactions are still unique and different. And it also means that my talents, even though I have a talent, or I'm trying to have this talent of being a writer and possibly a public speaker, I don't know how these videos are going to go, but things like that what I say and what I write is different than what everybody else writes. So my voice is important, and what I share may strike someone or help someone in some way, touch their heart in some way that I'm unaware of. And I may never be aware of all the ways in what I do can help or benefit other people. And I mean, right now I have very few followers or people that are actually watching these videos, so I doubt I'm touching a whole lot of lives. But I'm hoping it has that little ripple effect, when you throw a pebble into the pond and you just get the one little splash, but then it ripples across the whole lake. But it takes time for that ripple effect to work, and I'm hoping that works with my books as I work on my books and as I share what I'm learning. And I hope other people can learn from my experiences, and that they're willing to do like the 100 days of gratitude lists in their own way, whether they share it verbally with a friend, whether they make their own videos, whether they write about it, pray about it, whatever works for you as individuals. I hope you try this and see the changes and the progress and the perspective that you have in your life. And I'm sure there's some people that are already out there happy and already grateful for everything all the time. And I'm jealous of those people. I'll be honest, I really am. But I am grateful that this is helping me to get some work done, grateful that I can see a different perspective, that I'm open to trying to understand how other people feel, and learning that as I love myself, that I can love other people that way. And it fills, by filling myself up first, I have something to give to someone else, and that what I have to give has value, which I'm also grateful for. And I'm grateful that in spite of the fact that I stayed up until 6 o'clock this morning, I actually worked on my book. I did like 3 more chapters. Well, technically I revamped 2 chapters and wrote 1 more chapter, which has now made my book 1 chapter longer. And I still think I have 2 chapters left to write. And when I actually write those 2 chapters, they might end up being more than that. Or it might just be the 2 chapters, because I'm learning as I'm going, and as I write, more of the story kind of unfolds. I get more ideas, and I'm like, I want to make sure that it flows, that it tells the story, that I don't just jump ahead just because I want to be finished. I don't want to cut it short because I want to be finished. But I also want to finish it, so I have to work on it and see where it goes. And yes, I know where the ending is. I know what the ending is going to be. That's not the question, is how do I get there? And I think that's how it is with myself, with my life. I picture in my mind the person that I want to be and how I want to be at the end of all of this. Eventually I want to get back into exercising and lose some weight, because I know I'm over 100 pounds overweight and I could totally lose the weight, and I need to eat healthier. And I got a whole list, and it just keeps growing. I swear, the more I work on myself, the longer my list of things to do to myself gets. And I have to stop and remember to stay in today, because today is what I have to work with, and I can work with today. And I can be better, and I can learn from myself and from my experiences and from other people. And I can start learning how to feel my feelings and process them without necessarily reacting to them, without having that knee-jerk reaction. I'm like, I feel this way and therefore it is. It's that process of like, okay, why do I feel this way? What is the right way to respond? Or how can I respond lovingly to this situation without making it worse? Without making, feeding fuel to the fire, without it being this I have to be right competition kind of a thing, because then it just turns into an argument, and I'm horrible at arguments. I hate confrontations, and then my brain just shuts down and I don't process things. And then later I have the argument in my head with myself or with the other person that's unaware that we're having the argument, because I don't have the guts to have the argument with them out loud. And then, of course, then I have the control as to how they're going to respond, because it's in my head. But which is how I've come up with all of these fabulous little stories, turned them into little daydreams and worlds, and created other people that I can have all of this control with. But it doesn't create that in real life. That's not how communication in the real world works. So I'm having to learn how to do that. And I realize that's not an overnight thing, and it's going to take some time. But I'm grateful for people that are patient with me and they're willing to help me learn how to respond instead of to just react. And so I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful that I'm still doing my videos. And I'm grateful that I was able to hopefully figure out how to do this on YouTube, recording it, instead of doing it from my phone that seems to think it has no internal storage space, because it keeps having all these stupid apps that come with the phone that you can't delete, which is really annoying. And then they do those automatic updates and they take up all the space, and I was like, but I haven't put anything else on my phone. But they just keep updating and I run out of space, and then it won't let me undo updates. It won't let me stop updates, because or if you can do that, I have no idea how to do it, because I am not technologically savvy. So if anybody else knows how to help me with my phone, that would be awesome, because otherwise at some point it means I have to get a new phone, which is stupid. But I think they design these things that way intentionally, because it's how they make more money. And sadly, if I want to have a phone and do this kind of work, I will have to buy into that and do more work, or I will have to find some other form of equipment or method of sharing. And right now it's doing it directly through the YouTube video. And I opted for the record button instead of the live button, because I don't really want to see people live. And yeah, I think I would be distracted by comments if people were commenting while I was doing it live. So, but I think it's still viewable after it's been done live. I don't really know how that works. Again, that's something else I have yet to learn. And maybe someday that is something that I will be brave enough and courageous enough to try. Not today. Today is not that day. So, but I'm grateful to know that there's things that I can still learn and that I can learn and that I can try new things and that there is always another option, another choice. I'm not pigeonholed or stuck into this one way. Like I'm not fitting into this box. I don't have to do it. There's only one answer and this is it. And if this doesn't work, then nothing works. And I grew up with that. And I'm grateful that I can change my thought process, that I can focus on positive and things and be hopeful for good things in my life, that I can work through my challenges and know that I can do this. And I'm grateful for the support of people that are watching these videos. So if you like them, please, hit like, hit subscribe. If you think it'll benefit someone else to hear my crazy ramblings, please go ahead and share this with someone else. I would appreciate the ripple effect. Make me feel like I'm making some kind of a contribution to something. But it's entirely up to you. Like I said, once I do this, it's out of my control and you guys get to do what you want and what you feel is best. And I don't know what that is. I'm still trying to figure out what's best for me, and that's what I'm working on, is me. So thank you for taking this journey with me.